The world was stunned last week after Will Smith, star of classics such as Independence Day and Enemy of the State, physically assaulted fellow actor and comedian Chris Rock. Smith, who bagged the Oscar for Best Actor for his portrayal of Richard Williams, father of tennis legends Venus and Serena, was visibly upset at a joke Rock had made. Today, we are discussing potential boxing fight between the pair, plus other boxing news. Stay tuned. So what exactly happened? Unless you've been living on the moon for the past week or so, you will know that Will Smith stormed the stage at last week's Oscars ceremony, slapping Chris Rock after the comedian had made a joke at the expense of his wife, Jada, who is currently suffering from alopecia. Rock, who was presenting the award for Best Documentary, had said to Jada that he couldn't wait for G.I. Jane to be released, in reference to her shaved head. Smith, who initially saw the funny side of the joke, quickly changed his mood after he noticed his wife's reaction, who rolled her eyes after the tasteless remark. The Fresh Prince actor leapt into action like something from one of his action movies, approaching Rock from the front of the stage, before landing an almighty open palm slap on the funny man. Rock, as well as the entire room, was visibly stunned, but he quickly regained his composure, claiming that the incident was the best night in the history of TV. Returning to his seat, Smith barked, "Keep my wife's name out of your mouth," before repeating the order, complete with an expletive shortly after. The incident opened a debate as to how far comedians should be allowed to go when targeting people as the source of their joke. As the attack on Pinkett Smith was clearly over the line, Rock even produced a documentary about black hair back in 2009, so he should have known better, really. What did you make of the whole incident? So what about this boxing fight? Let's discuss. Of course, no sooner had the slap finished reverberating around the world, YouTuber turned boxer Jake Paul was one of the first to jump on the bandwagon to address one of the biggest scandals in Oscars history. Smith, who later apologized for the incident during his acceptance speech for Best Actor, but not directly to Rock, that apology came later last week, was quickly offered $15 million to fight Rock in a boxing ring by Paul directly, who tweeted, "I have $15 million for Will Smith and another $15 million for Chris Rock ready to start. Let's do it in August on my billboard." This sort of thing would have been inconceivable just a few short years ago, but Jake Paul has changed the game, and celebrity fights are something which have become more popular in recent times. Paul, who himself started his boxing career in gimmick-like fights, returned to Twitter for a short time later to encourage someone to put him in touch with Will Smith's boxing representative, who almost certainly doesn't exist. And there was also talk in some quarters of a potential mixed martial arts fight after UFC head honcho Dana White also weighed in on the situation. He said, "At last, there is an Oscar show worth watching. Chris Rock has stamina on that chin, and he's not joking. There was some power in Smith's slap, and Rock took it in full, literally on the chin. Who do you have if these two got into the ring? Let us know below." And what about the rest of the fallout from the incident? As the dust has now settled on the crazy incident that dominated last week's news, there have been a few developments. Rock was heard joking about what took place backstage, saying something along the lines of being the only man to stay standing after being hit by Muhammad Ali, in reference to Smith playing the boxing icon. Smith did eventually apologize to the comedian, saying that his actions were out of line on an Instagram post. He said, "Violence in all of its forms is poisonous and destructive. My behavior at last night's Academy Awards was unacceptable and inexcusable. Jokes at my expense are a part of the job, but a joke about Jada's medical condition was too much for me to bear, and I reacted emotionally. I would like to publicly apologize to you, Chris. I was out of line, and I was wrong. I'm embarrassed, and my actions were not indicative of the man I want to be. There is no place for violence in a world of love and kindness." Following the outrageous incident, Smith has since resigned from the Oscars Academy, and there are now questions on whether or not he'll be allowed to keep his Oscar. Fans have backed Smith for defending his wife's honor, but of course, violence cannot be tolerated. So there are serious question marks in the short term, and it would be a huge sham if Smith wasn't allowed to keep his award for such an outstanding job. Do you think Smith should be allowed to keep his Oscar? Another celebrity fight is up next. Stay with us. In a further descent into madness, it was revealed last week that one of the most controversial feuds in recent months is set to culminate in a boxing match between Kanye West and Pete Davidson. The pair, who have reportedly settled on taking part in the charity event, do not like each other after Davidson has begun dating West's ex-wife, Kim Kardashian. The fight will take place in Atlanta's Mercedes-Benz Stadium at the end of the month, and Ye's representative, Jim Skit, revealed that they've already been in training for weeks. Of course, neither of these guys has any boxing experience whatsoever, so don't expect this to be a barn burner. However, according to his team, Kanye has been eating a dozen raw eggs every day. Okay, Rocky. Kanye has pretty much been living at the stadium since last year in order to finish his latest album. So this would essentially be a home fight for the rapper, who has claimed he'll stop using his mobile phone until he has a six-pack. Sounds reasonable. The fight will reportedly be sold for $20 and will be marketed as Ye vs. Skeet by Kanye's marketing team. What do you guys make of this recent trend of celebrities taking to the boxing ring? Let us know your thoughts below. Next up, Tony Bellew has weighed in on the Joshua vs. Usyk rematch. Tony Bellew knows a thing or two about how to negotiate a world title fight. The former cruiserweight world champion has offered Anthony Joshua a simple solution as to how to regain his heavyweight title from Ukrainian slugger Oleksandr Usyk. Bellew, who himself suffered defeat at the hands of Usyk in his final professional fight, has suggested Joshua needs to get back to the aggressive style we saw so often from him in his younger younger years. It has been suggested that AJ doesn't possess those tools anymore and runs the risk of blowing a gasket if he returns to his former style. After losing to Andy Ruiz, a man so disinterested in becoming an elite-level boxer that he didn't even bother training properly for his rematch against Joshua. It was suggested that Joshua himself was no longer elite, and Bellew has explained that he needs to regain the hunger he had when disposing of the likes of Vladimir Klitschko and Dillian Whyte, and said if he's to be successful against Usyk and become a heavyweight champion for the third time, Joshua has to look at himself and be the man he was against Dillian Whyte and Klitschko, a fighter with a point to prove. And we couldn't agree more. If he loses again to Usyk, this will surely be the end for the man once touted as the best British boxing talent in recent history. Who do you guys have in this one? And finally, some Tyson Fury news. Fury will take on Dillian Whyte in just under 3 weeks' time, and the Gypsy King has recently been called out by another champion, UFC heavyweight king Francis Ngannou. The Cameroonian, who has been talking about making the transition into boxing for a long time, is currently recuperating from a knee injury, but he recently released a video on his YouTube channel entitled "I Will Fight Tyson Fury." The pair are no strangers to each other and have been going back and forth for some time now, and with Ngannou potentially leaving the UFC after his next fight, this one could be closer than fans realize. Francis said, "I don't really care about what it would be. I just think it would be a fight. Against Tyson Fury, it could be in a phone booth or on a rooftop. That fight will happen. Obviously, he won't come to MMA. That's not something that could happen. He would get killed." And whilst Ngannou is probably right about the fact that he would win if it was MMA rules, the exact opposite is true when it comes to boxing. Fury is widely regarded as one of the greatest heavyweights of all time, so it would take a lot of work for Ngannou to pull off a win against the big Englishman. As always, thanks for stopping by today, and remember to tune in next time for some more fun reveals. Also, remember to like, share, and subscribe to our channel. Bye, guys!